that's a positive thing, right? It's a positive thing. So
Yeah, I joke with my kids, my brother used to call me Moose, so it's like, that's my
Moose?
nickname. Yeah.
Really? So we
Yeah.
have a connection. We have a
Why?
connection. So my father's nickname in high school was Moose, and
Where,
he had a moose sweater, and thus they named him Moose. So
yeah, where are you from, Steve?
well, I grew up in I was born and grew up in Plainfield, and my folks moved to Warren, and they were one of the families that started the Mountain Jewish Community Center, which is now Har Shalom. But I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow. Are you near Roswell?
20 everything in Georgia is 20 minutes plus traffic, so
Okay.
not far. You have family?
My girlfriend lives in Roswell, and she
Ah.
belongs to a conservative shul.
Which one does she belong to? Do you know?
No, her name is Sharon Corey. She's in
Oh,
the,
Sharon Corey. No, sorry. So
Yeah.
while we're waiting, my parents went on a Har Shalom trip with Rabbi Misnitsky and her husband to
Right.
Israel. Well, I don't know how many years ago they're on with Lisa, but I don't know, at least 12, 15 years ago.
Right.
And one afternoon they're in Jerusalem walking on the overlook, and there's a film crew there.
Yeah.
And they asked, my father being very shy like he was, asked, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Well, they said, we're making a movie. Instead of moving to Florida, spend your winters in Jerusalem, spend your winters in Israel instead of Miami, right? And my father, and where are you from? And the rabbi who was overseeing this, who was from Atlanta, and it was my rabbi
Oh,
from Atlanta.
wow.
And he said, where are you from? We're from New Jersey. What's your name? Oh, where are you from? We're from Atlanta. He says, Stephen Howard. He says, I know your son. It's like, I know your grandchildren. You know.
Wow.
So they had to travel all the way to Jerusalem to meet somebody that knew. So
yeah, it's a small world. I mean, I
Yep.
taught at Mountain Jewish with Rabbi Jaffe.
I
was a teacher there I taught there for 24 years.
24 years. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What did you teach? What grades did you teach?
I taught second, I taught fifth, and I taught sixth.
Second was much nicer, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. I was Rabbi Jaffe and Cantor Berman married my husband and I. So
I thought they were already in a relationship.
So, it's been a long time. I miss Cantor Berman.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well,
so what temple do you belong to down in Atlanta?
I belong to two. I'm a member but I don't really go to Temple Emmanuel, which is a Reformed congregation in, it's Atlanta technically, but it's Sandy Springs. It's
Right.
Northeast Atlanta.
Right.
But to get there is beyond difficult on a Friday night.
Okay.
But where I go, there's a Chabad congregation or a Chabad house.
Okay.
That's literally across the street from where my son lives, and 20-minute walk, half-hour walk, and a 5-minute drive from where I live in Atlanta. Okay. And I've been worshiping there for the last, 10 years, it feels like, for the primarily there. And it's different. It meets my needs. And I was actually referred to it by a Catholic deacon.
Really?
Yeah. So I was synagogue shopping, as we are often wont to do.
Right.
And Cantor Berman and all, we're monopolizing the service here. But I was in the process of shul shopping, which was totally foreign to him. And he said to me, there's this place, Chabad, around the corner from where you live.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't go to Chabad. It's pronounced Chabad. I can't. I said, I want to sit with my daughters. I want to sit with my, And they're like, when was the last time your daughters, who don't live anywhere near you, were in services with you? And I said, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And he said, then you should go. And I called it the unshul. It was in a little itty bitty house, and it was very Hamish and very warm, and it meets my needs, and I like the people. So.
Well, I was raised conservative, My husband was raised Reform, so we tried the Chabad in Hillsborough.
Uh-huh.
But my husband likes to sit with me.
Yes.
And he said, Judaism to him is family, and we should be sitting together to pray.
And as the Chazan will say, as Cantor will say, I miss the music.
Yeah.
I can't say I miss Debbie Friedman music, but I miss the melodies and I miss the singing. Mm-hmm. And I do think there's power in sitting together as a family. Yeah. And I do miss that. But I'm in a different stage right now. So.
Okay.
Anyhow. All right. So you and I have taken over the service here.
Well, it was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you, Karen. And I hope you're comforted by the memory and blessings of your brother.
I thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, turn your camera on so we can see Ma. Please.
Har Shalom, everyone. I assume services are starting soon, yeah?
You got the sitter.
We assume so. How are you?
Bruce, I can't see you.
That's right.
Okay, all right. There is
There
Rabbi.
I am. Is that better?
That's much better.
I'm trying to accomplish several things.
Maybe it was going to be.
You're in the shul. Good.
Oh, there we go. Services are starting.
Okay, I'll keep quiet now.
Yard sites tonight, yes?
Don't know.
Karen, it's Ronnie's yard site, and Stephen, it's Murray's.
No, it's my mom's father, Herschel, Harry Reese, her dad's yard site.
Andrew, are you down the shore, or are you in Warren? I can't hear her. I guess we got muted out.
Warren is gone. All right, I think they're starting. All right,
okay.
bye.
Good. Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Well, we are an intimate group here in the sanctuary. We're very grateful for those who are joining us over our live Zoom, and we thank you so much for your patience with our internet service. The weather here is rather challenging to people and to electricity. So we hope that you will be able to remain with us and enjoy the beauty of Shabbat. And that means we're going to get started right away so that we don't lose any more of our energy.
So the words for blessed will you be, Shalom Aleichem, are found on your song sheets. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem, Shalom. 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 Shalom Aleichem.
For those who are following along with a Siddur, their prayer book, we're on page 120 for the lighting of the Shabbat candles, and what an honor it is to welcome forward Barbara Chassid. And on page 121, we can join together in the English reading together. As these Shabbat candles
Give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Have you with us. Kendra, I think we're going to go to Lachat Odi,
I think that sounds good.
page 138 and 39.
Shabbat
139, the last verse, we rise to welcome the Shabbos bride.
Shalom. I
would ask that we remain standing. We're going to make our way to page 146 for the Baruch Hu, and then remain standing through the Shema. Please join me on page 152 for Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevon Malchuto.
You may be seated and let's continue chanting together.
Asher Elohim Etzavecha Hayom Alevavecha Veshinantam Levanecha V'dibarta Ban בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרת מאוד בידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're on page 157, and we can read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
And though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
And on page 160 is Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim, Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, u'shemor tziteinu u'vo'einu. Ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, u'shemor tziteinu u'vo'einu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
That was beautiful. Hashkivenu is one of my all-time favorites because it reminds us that as we lay down, so we wish in the very same state we can wake up. And on Shabbat, that's with Shalom. It was beautiful. Well, we move to another oldie but goodie, I believe, on page 162. This Shamru.
This is a newer melody for this congregation,
Oh,
actually.
good.
Mhm.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
You're not wrong. That is an older melody, actually,
Is it
in
really?
truth. Mhm.
It's a beautiful one. It's always fun to learn new melodies and new traditions and where they come from. So thank you, Kendra. Page 164 is Tefillah, and we're going to rise together and join together. Oftentimes, in more traditional settings, one looks for the need of a minyan or a specific number of people to come together in order to recite certain prayers and blessings. But early on in the Reform tradition, it was thought to be that one person is just as important as 10, and therefore they deserve all that we would give if we were joined together. Later on, of course, it's become important that a minyan represents community, and asking for a minyan is asking for a commitment to be sure that at least that we have 10. And so even if we may not count people, we also count our Torahs, we count our kavanah, we count our lev, our hearts.
Don't forget our online community.
And our online community.
Yeah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ahel Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasei Avot Ve'imot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol Torah ve'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach morit hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim radim. Somech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asulim, umekayem emunato, rishenei afar, michamocha b'geburot, umidam melach, melech lemit umechayev, u'matziach Yeshua, leman atah hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may all be seated. And we're going to turn to our prayer of thanksgiving on page 177. Together we read, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words,
for
the awareness of soul, our light within, and the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer our thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lacha na'eh lehodot. And always during Shabbat, we pause for a moment of our own thoughts and prayers that come from our own hearts and meditations. They are supposed to be centered on that theme, literally, of thanksgiving, gratitude for what we perhaps have endured, the challenges we've overcome, the joys and blessings that have been ours. And that is what Shabbat is meant to be, a taking of census of all that we have and how fortunate we are. So this Shabbat, let us pause for a few moments of our own thanksgiving.
יעשה שלום בברמה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
And always on Shabbat, we think of those who may be in need of extra healing. So if there is someone that you are aware of who you would like to share their name with us now, or say it within your own hearts, and certainly for all those who have no one to pray for their well-being and to endure their challenges, so we offer.
The words of Misha Baroff can be found on your inserts.
משברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. משברך אמותינו, שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
This week, according to our secular calendar, marks two very special anniversaries, Yortzites. One, of course, is the third anniversary of the terrible, tragic shooting and massacre that took place at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the neighborhood of Squirrel Hill. That literally changed our lives forever. And secondly is the 1 year Yortzeit this week of one of the greatest modern rabbis of our time, Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, who was the chief rabbi of Great Britain. And he was an extraordinary teacher. And in looking for a topic for today, knowing that we are just 2 days from Halloween, and that every Shabbat demands some enjoyment, I wondered what kind of teaching would Rabbi Sacks have given us for this weekend. when particularly here in America, but truthfully, it's gaining popularity all over Europe right now, the holiday of Halloween and the enjoyment of getting dressed up as strangers and monsters and trick-or-treating and having some fun. Of course, several generations back here in America, if you had more traditional or immigrant parents or grandparents, as I did, Halloween and trick-or-treating was not something that was encouraged because it wasn't Jewish enough. In fact, we were reminded that it's All Hallows Eve and All Saints Eve, and it was really someone else's religious holiday. But of course, here in America, it has lost all sense of any religion and has just taken on a really fun secular meaning that no child wants to miss. And we have changed with the times. But Rabbi Sachs has an interesting philosophy on what this weekend would be about. He says it's actually about Hachmasat Orchim, welcoming the stranger. How is it that we welcome someone who is different from ourselves, looks different than us, maybe even frightening to us or repels us? How do we welcome them? He notes that welcoming the stranger is the most often repeated commandment in the Torah. It is commanded 36 times, more than any other, because we are reminded that we were strangers in a strange land. And the ultimate question he asks is, why should I not hate the stranger? Because the stranger is me. And in truth, all of us are strangers at different times. And how would we want someone to welcome us? It's a question we've been asking ever since we've been wanderers. Well, it's a question that we ask here in this country of many, many different strangers and have been asking it for generations. How do we welcome the person who is different? Well, in the 1960s, there was a new medium that really had caught the attention of all of America, and that was television. And that meant that TV shows could teach us how to welcome the stranger. And so in doing a little investigation, what was the #1 show that combines both the teaching of Rabbi Sachs and the holiday of Halloween that taught us how to welcome the stranger? They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and kooky, right? They're all together. The Addams Family. We all know it. Perhaps we don't know that the writer of the Addams Family, the original writer, is a man by the name of Charles Addams, who actually lived in Westfield. And that is why Westfield is such a spooky town and takes its Halloween very seriously. But he was writing about his own family members. He himself was not Jewish, but if you look at many of his characters and some of the recreations that were imposed on the Addams family, well, you know, look hard enough, you'll always find something Jewish. So I thought I would share with you some of the interesting Jewish facts about the Addams family. And why was it about welcoming the stranger? Actually, the Munsters had the very same effect. They looked different, they acted different, they dressed differently, they had very kooky traditions and mannerisms, and no one knew what to make of these monsters in the neighborhood. We later learned that that 60s sitcom was actually based on what was happening here in America at that time, as white Christian neighborhoods were beginning to welcome the strangers. We were some of them, of course, any minority, but particularly it was the African-American population that was starting to make its way into the suburbs And the writers of the Addams Family felt that this was a very good way to teach America how to welcome the stranger, the frightening, and the unknown. Well, okay, just a few little trivia questions for you. What is the pet name that Morticia Adam has for her husband Gomez? The pet name. She called him at all times Bubala. Bubala, absolutely. The director of the films, both the Addams Family and the Addams Family Returns, were written and directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, a nice Jewish boy, best known for Men in Black. But he brought a lot of his own traditions into the movies and into the characters as well. In Addams Family's values, you may remember that the children, Wednesday and Pugsley, such meaningful names, are sent to sleepaway camp. Anyone ever take notice of the camp they were sent to? I actually checked this out with Camp Chippewa in Wisconsin, a very Jewish camp in Wisconsin that was really meant for the upper class white Jewish families that couldn't get into camp anywhere else. And that's where they sent Wednesday and Pugsley. And they do indeed learn how to bless the Shabbos candles. The music of the Addams Family is very interesting. Mark Shaman, the producer and composer of all the Addams Family music, the theme that he wrote is called The Family Plots. And it's the instrumental song that dances literally all through the movie. And as Gomez is thinking about his poor brother Fester, he dances a special dance that in the film they call the mamushka, and is referred to as the hora. So very interesting. And I never realized this in Addams Family Values, when Uncle Fester walks down the aisle with his gold digging wife, Debbie Jelinski, who was not meant to be Jewish. They walk down to a spooky rendition of Sunrise Sunset. I have to go rewatch the movie now. I thought that was so fascinating. So fascinating. And ultimately, the newest character in the films is Wednesday's boyfriend. He is portrayed as a stereotypical Jewish teen. He wears glasses, is allergic to everything, and has a neurotic mother. And the question is, how did they come up with such a character to be Wednesday's boyfriend? And the answer was, it was us three Jewish boys who wrote, produced, and wrote the music for the Addams Family. He is us. We were the three classic wearing glasses, allergic to everything boys with neurotic mothers, and we couldn't wait to get out of Long Island. So one never really knows what a story can teach and what a holiday can ignite in all of us. But whoever thought we could bring together Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, truly the greatest modern rabbi of modern times, that we could bring together the Addams Family and Halloween and make it all Jewish. So again, to have some more fun, Cantor, why don't you help us?
Page 626. Eloheinu, Adonenu,
ker Malkeinu, ein ker Moshienu, mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Malkeinu, mi Moshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Candace. Thank you very much. We're so grateful. Especially in this day and age, one must have a little bit of fun and reminisce and know that it all comes back to our Jewish roots, all of it. But we're going to continue with our service now, page 586 for the Aleinu, and I'd ask you all to rise, please.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, Aleinu l'yotzei l'reishi, Shelot amruti haratzon, Velot amanu b'mishpachot ha'adamah, Shelot tov Eloheinu b'hem, V'gor aleinu k'chol
And we do remain standing so we can remember those no longer physically present with us, but who are very much alive in our hearts and our memories. On this Shabbat, we commemorate the yard sites of Lucille Alter, Conrad Berman, Roger Klott, Martha Coleman, Harold Hoffman, Dorothy Lippman, Harry Reese, Ronald Edward Rothstein, M. Dennis Schneider, Anita A. Schwartz, Jill Skolnick, and Elliot Stempel. And we mourn those who were killed at the Tree of Life Synagogue on this, the third anniversary of their tragedy. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Godfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecile Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger. And on this, the first anniversary of his passing, we remember Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, together with those who have been taken from us in most recent days, as we remember Ruth Wiesel, Linda Rogalski, and Bryce Rosen. If there is anyone amongst us who is remembering a yard site or a new death that is raw and fresh within our hearts and minds, please feel free to add their names. And we know as a Jewish community, we always remember those who have no one left to remember them, as we also remember those of the American Armed Forces and the Israel Defense Forces who have given their lives in defense of our nation and the land of Israel. Page 598, the Kaddish prayer. Yitkadav v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'olam nimkol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. V'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We pray that the source of peace will send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us, as we all say, amen. You may be seated. Well, it has been a joy to welcome you into the sanctuary, both physically and electronically. And we hope that we've enhanced the beauty of your Shabbat as you've enhanced the beauty and fun of ours. So just a reminder that next week's service, November 4th, will be on Zoom only, as it is teacher convention weekend. And nearly all of our population makes its way. Actually, we could have a bigger minion in Orlando, but we will be via Zoom, and then we will return here into the sanctuary for several special Shabbatot and all family Shabbatot, a multi-generational Shabbat, a Shabbat to offer thanks as coming of Thanksgiving, and the dedication of our new food pantry, which you'll be hearing more and more about. So we have a lot of excitement coming up, and I hope that you will be sure to join us. Can't there any announcements on your end?
None on my end.
Okay. Well, once again, we're going to conclude Shabbat with Kiddush and the blessing of the Challah. So please, why don't you all come up and join us? Please don't be such strangers. We will welcome you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hadafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'nata lanu, v'shabai chodsho yavo ratzon inchilanu. Zikaron Moshe Bereishi, Kivu Yom Tehila, Mikra Kodesh, Zeher Litziat Mitzrayim, Ki Anu Acharto, Ve'otanu Kidashta, Mikol V'shavah Hochecha Be'ahava u'ratzon Imchatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat L'chaim.
Great juice. Always. That's actually really good.
That's beautiful. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz,
Shabbat Shalom.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
It's such a
everyone.
joy. You can come up and pull it apart if you would like. Anyone, or we'll bring it down to you.
And since we're all here, I'd love to do a communal closing song. We started with Shalom Aleichem with a newer melody. Let us now join in with a melody that speaks to all communities. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem. Zeichem leShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. May we all be blessed this Shabbat with shalom, with peace. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.